Summary of No Boy by John Okada. At the beginning of the book, Ichiro, a no boy who is also a Japanese-American man of the second generation, is traveling back to Seattle. He is now free for the first time in 4 years since the end of World War II. He turned down the draft and spent 2 years in an internment camp and the next 2 in jail. Ichiro moves in with his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Yamada. They live and work in a grocery store. He also joins Taro, his younger brother, who doesn't like Ichiro or his parents. Taro thinks of himself as American and doesn't understand his Japanese family. Ichiro has a troubled relationship with his parents because he thinks they made him too Japanese. His love for them and Japan made him refuse to join the army. Ichiro feels like he ruined his life by making the choice he did. People in the Japanese community who fought for the US treat him badly, and people of other races and groups treat Japanese people badly in general. Ichiro tries his best to get back to normal life and think about his future choices. He hangs out with his friend Freddy, who is also a bad boy and has been free for a few weeks but still doesn't have a job. They drink, gamble, and party. Ichiro is upset by this and starts to see Freddy as a lesson. Ichiro meets up with a friend, Kenji, near where he used to go to college. During his time in the US military, Kenji lost most of his left leg. He doesn't hate the army or Ichiro for not serving there, though. Kenji thinks he only has a few years left to live because his leg is still sick even after it was cut off. He is still content with his life and wouldn't change a thing about it. Ichiro and Kenji become friends right away and spend the day and night together. Their friendship is solidified when Kenji protects Ichiro from 2 Nisei teens who would attack him for refusing to join the draft. Kenji takes Ichiro to see his friend Emi, a young woman whose husband is in another country and won't come home. The night before, Ichiro and Emi sleep together. In the morning, Emi tells Ichiro that his life is not over and that he can still be happy. Kenji needs to have more surgery on his leg in Portland, and he asks Ichiro to come with him. Ichiro drops Kenji off at the hospital in Portland and looks for work while he waits for his friend to finish surgery. He meets a white engineer named Mr. Carrick who thinks that the US did the wrong thing by interning Japanese people and gives Ichiro a job right away as a way of making up for it. The offer is turned down by Kenji, who is glad to see that there are kind people in the world. Ichiro goes to see Kenji in the hospital. He knows his friend is sick and thinks he or she will die. Ichiro should not stay in Portland, he tells him. Instead, he should go home and fix things with his family. Ichiro takes Kenji's car to leave and come back to Seattle. Father of Kenji Kano, Mr. Kano, tells him that his son died that afternoon when he drops off the car. Mrs. Yamada is adamant that Japan won World War II, even though all proof points in a different direction. She says that the US's win was just propaganda. Ichiro and Mr. Yamada have tried hard to change her mind, and they finally seem to have made progress before Ichiro leaves for Portland. Unfortunately, the breakthrough breaks Mrs. Yamada totally, and when Ichiro goes home one day, he finds that his mother has killed herself because she was so unhappy in America and couldn't go back to Japan. Ichiro starts looking for work in Seattle the week after the funeral of his mother. In his free time, he paints signs at the Christian Rehabilitation Center, where he meets Gary, another bad boy who now works there. At night, he paints for himself. Gary thinks that being locked up saved his life and helped him figure out what he was here to do. Ichiro didn't feel that way, but seeing how happy Gary seems makes him feel better. Ichiro goes out one last time with his friend Freddy in the evening. Freddy is going downhill fast because he is getting into fights, smoking, and drinking. They go to a club where Freddy has been in fights before. A man named Bull wants to teach him a lesson, so he drags Freddy outside. When Ichiro steps in, Freddy runs to his car and speeds off, but he goes too fast and hits a wall, killing himself. After the event, Ichiro is shocked and starts to think that there might be a chance for him after all if he can forgive himself and choose happiness and society.
About the author. John Okada was born in Seattle. His parents immigrated to the United States from Japan. He went to college at the University of Washington in Seattle, but the Second World War stopped him from finishing his education. The United States government put Okada and his family in camps, first at the Puyallup Assembly Center in Washington and then at a camp in Minidoka, Idaho. After putting Japanese people in camps for a year and a half, the US government brought back the draft for them. Instead of waiting to be chosen, Okada joined the army as soon as he was able to. He first worked as a translator and worked his way up to sergeant. After the war, Okada got his first bachelor's degree in English literature from the University of Washington. He then went on to get an MA in teaching at Columbia University and a second bachelor's degree in library science from the same university. Okada then took his wife and 2 kids and went to Detroit. He wrote his first and only book there, No Boy. At the time, neither the Japanese literary community nor the literary community in general paid much attention to it. Okada died at 47 without experiencing the huge favorable critical and cultural response to No Boy, which began in the 1970s with the Asian American literary movement.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.